Okay, so that's all of the plastic removed, and I've blown off all of the loose debris out in the shed so that it doesn't get everywhere in here. But as you can see in here, if you can catch it in the light, there still are a lot of burrs where these were drilled and they weren't countersunk or anything afterwards. So I still need to remove that. The ends actually seem quite clean. I can't detect any rollover or anything like that, and they look like they're being cut very nice and squarely. So that's good, because obviously how square these are is key to getting a very accurate assembly of the 3D printer. So let me just clean off these little burrs from the drilling process. There's a few of them, and I'll get right back to you and we'll start building this thing. Okay, that's all the debris removed. Let me just show you what we ended up with pulling off of these things. Now, I did have a look in the packaging, and there is debris laying around inside the polystyrene packaging too. So it would be prudent, anybody getting this kit, to examine carefully any parts that are in there as well, to make sure there are no bits of metal like this floating around. I will open up the power supply and have a quick check inside of it, because obviously a little piece of aluminum like this would easily short out the mains and cause problems, and that would not be good. So anyway, yeah, it's a slight downer. I know these printers are built right down to a very low cost. This particular kit I think is around about $350 US. So, you know, that's a very competitive for its size, and there has to be parts of the manufacturing process and quality control that kind of gets left by the wayside for the assembler to take care of. And it looks like deburring and making sure that all the shavings are gotten rid of out of the aluminum extrusions is one of those small tasks. Minor thing, a little bit annoying, because this debris does get around inside the packaging while it's being shipped. So, you know, you do have to go to extra effort to check everything. Anyway, that's all done. So now we can dig out the manual and start getting to building. Okay, so I've just taken the power supply apart. I'm going to take a photo for you, high res, and just insert it in the video. So let me just do that. And I can't see any debris inside. It looks like a very well made power supply. The big inductors and things have all been solastimored down, which is nice. It's got a fan built in. Whether it's temperature controlled or not, I think probably not. Does look like we've got the input protection caps, fuse built on the board. It's a 6.3 amp 250 volt fuse. We've got the common mode chokes, NTC for protection, inrush current protection, etc. Bridge rectifier. Obviously this has never been powered up yet, so mains smoothing cap. So this is going to be, in my case, up to about 160 volts or something like that. Switching, transistors, control circuitry, main inductor. Looks like this is another common mode choke, but it may not be. Output filtering and output supply rails. There's 2 pins, 2 connections for +12 and 2 connections for the 0 volts. It does not have really heavy gauge wire for a 30 amp power supply, so I may change the wire. We'll put it together as is first and see how it fares, but I think some of this wire is a little light for 30 amps. Anyway, time to put this back together and we'll get on. So the time now is just gone 2:30 in the afternoon, 2:40 by the look of it. Let's see how long this takes for me to build. I do have a limited time in the wife's sewing room because she is on her way home and she'll be back home in a few hours. So let's see if we can get this built before she gets here. But I do want to build it right, so if we have to move at some point, then that'll be what we have to do, but let's get going. First thing I'm going to do is have a look at the USB key and see what's on it. I'll be recording that on my laptop over here, which I'll also use to have the build instructions up on. As you can see in the bottom of the screen here, I have all my parts laid out in front of me, just mostly out of view, and I'll be building right here. So you're going to be looking from the back, but I will rotate the build around from time to time so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm just bringing up the PDF right now. So the SD card looks like it's got operating instructions, software, videos and pictures, 20mm box pillar still file, some G-code, 40mm box pillar, and we'll go into the operating instructions. Here we go. It's got a assemble guide, so that's good. There's the assembly guide, I'm assuming. Yep. So let's get this thing out to full screen. So assemble the base frame. Tells us what we need. Looks like we're doing things in metric, so I'm just going to grab a ruler so I make sure I get the right pieces. I now have a metric ruler, so I need one 20 by 20 by 530, profile 1, 20 by 20, 530 millimeters long, and I need 4 of them. So what are these ones? These are the 531, so I guess that's them. So I need 4 of these. They've got screw holes at each end only, so that's those. I need 2 pieces of 220 by 220, 20 by 20 by 460. Two pieces. That would be these ones. So I need 2 of those. And I need 4 pieces of 20 by 40 by 530, and that would be these ones. They're 20 by 40s, there's no disputing that. So there's all the pieces we need for this. Let's just move the other ones away a little bit for now, so we have some build room. And we'll just shove these back here a little bit so we know what we've got. I need screws. Okay, these are little screws. These look like the 9, 12, 25 and 20 millimeter screws. These are standoff springs and the wing nuts, and these are T-slot nuts. PM5s, PM4s, and I need the rubber feet. There's 4 of them right here. Looks like I get 8 of them because there's 2 packs with the same thing. That's all right. Spares is always good. So I got my rubber feet. Okay, PM5 screws. These are all M3s. These are M5s. I imagine the PM5s are M5s. So these are, it's probably going to be these ones. Those are not M5. Let me just sort these screws out and I'll be right back to you. So it looks like there are a few discrepancies with a few of the parts here. The 5 by 25s, that's not a problem. We've got lots of those and we just need one of them for this according to what I'm reading. Got that right here. The PM 4 by 8s in the packet, they're actually labeled as PM or M4 by 9 millimeters, so they're probably the right ones. I mean, 9 millimeters, 8 millimeters, as long as they don't bottom out, that should be fine. We need 4 T-nuts, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is only one kind of T-nut, so that's not an issue. And we've got our 4 feet, and we've got our 4 washers. That's everything we need. So let's scroll down a little bit on here and have a look at what's next. So the 20 by 40s are the verticals and the 20 by 20s are the horizontals. Now we've got profile 1, which go along the top. You can see it right here. Profile 1 is the 20 by 20 by 530s. So I don't know if that's front and back, but and then, so we've got 2 of these and 2 of these. So that's front and back and sides. And then the 4 verticals are the third one, which is the 20 by 40. So these are the 4 verticals. You can see there's still little bits of debris dropping out, so we need to be careful with that. Let's just move these out the way a second. So there's our verticals. So what we need to do is, looks like the profile 2, which is the shorter one, goes flat sides of these, separated. Just looking at this picture, you can see they're wider, so that assuming this is the front here for now, we've got the shorter profile going from front to rear, and they're on the long side of these. So let's just lay these out on the cutting board. And these pieces, these are the shorter ones, will be going across the ends. Now, I'm pretty sure that is showing a bigger one screw in each. So we need this to be laid out so that we have 1 screw in this end. Just move these out the way a second. And 1 screw off out on that end. No washers so far. I think the washers are, yeah, the washers and the things are for the feet. So let's screw, we might as well do both sides because they are identical. So we'll just do this and take this one for the next one, and we'll screw that in. So let me just screw those together and then I'll be right back. Now these are using, all the screws for this are crossheads, so I'm going to try and stick to just the tools that were provided. So here is the crosshead screwdriver that I will be using for this build. As long as it works fine, won't be a problem. It doesn't say to use Loctite or anything like that on these connections, so I'm not going to do that right now. Just going to put them in as is and continue. So a point to note with these is that one side that they were drilled from has actually got a piece of the V-rail widened out as well. And the screw won't drop in from the wrong side. It actually catches on the V-rail. So you need to drop it in from the side that is the extra wide, but they must have gone in with a second operation to widen up the hole. The hole is quite a sloppy fit as it happens. I've got the wrong screws here anyway at the moment. But I guess once you square it all up and tighten all the screws up, it should be fine. The instructions also only call for 1 M5 by 25, but you need 8 to put this frame together. So that's just a minor little glitch. It actually is detailed further down in the writing that we're looking at right here. So we can see it says right there the 8 PM5 25. So these are M5 25 millimeters long. Up here it actually only called for 1 of them. Everything else has a quantity. So that's fine. Just make the adjustments as we go. Right now I'm just nipping these up gently because I know that with the little bit of play that's in them, we're going to have to do a little bit of squaring up and adjustment once we got the full frame assembled. So I'm just putting them in so that it's just nipped up so they're tight against the edges, but enough that I can, not tight enough that I can't still move them to do any adjustments. The vertical pieces I'm just putting in right now are the 500 and, where is it? 530 millimeters long, the ones I just put on with the 460s. So carry on. What I'm doing for part of the alignment here is on the end I'm using a piece of metal just to make sure, and I'll take a picture and put it up right here, that the extrusions are actually going to the nice surface edge so that I know that they're all going together properly. All of these are precision 20 millimeters wide, so if I make sure they all line up on the edge and things are smooth on the edge here, then I know that they're going to go together well when I stand it up, and everything's going to line up better. The tricky thing here is making sure that things are square, because these legs here, they will twist and move things, as you can see. So by having it on a nice flat surface, when you screw it up, you can manage to get it nice and square and all lined up nicely. Now, I can't get these really tight now. I want to have them a little tighter. But that's about as tight as it will go, just making sure that these things are square in. I'm sure some other pieces as they go together will help to square this up. This is where, of course, having all the burrs removed on the aluminum helps too, because they allow the screws to go and sit flat. Okay, so that's this stage done. If I stand this up, we are now looking at, my table is flat, so this is better. Not. So we've done this piece here. What we need to do now is move across to this piece. So that's, need to put it, did I do the wrong one there? No, closed off the top. I'm adding, yeah, we've got adding the profile ones to the other side of this. Let's see if I can adjust the camera for a little bit better view. So there we go. These are the two pieces I want. So they're going to go on this side and over here. So let's just flip this upside down so that I can do that. Okay. Yeah, this one still needs tightening up a little bit more because it is moving around on me. Noisy. And this screwdriver has not got a big handle on, so I might have to get a bigger screwdriver, at least a bigger handled one, to get a tighter grip on those screws. Okay, so these need to go on here and on the other side. So that is with two more of these large screws. Okay, there we go. So that's that step done. Now let's just, okay, that's that step done. Let's now continue and go to the, okay, we're putting rubber feet on by the look of it. And we're doing it on the side that already has 4 pieces on. So we turn this over. And we're going to put rubber feet on the bottom of here. So here's our 4 rubber feet. Here's our 4 T-nuts. And here are our 4 M4 screws and 4 washers. So, screw through washer. The rubber feet don't have any holes in there yet, so just poke your screwdriver through to help it on its merry way. Push the screws through, attach a T-nut to the bottom. The idea is you just give them a couple of turns to get them gripping, but then you just leave them loose so that you can get them in and lock them up. Okay, so we're at my end of this. I guess as long as they're all on, it doesn't matter exactly where you put them, as long as they're close to the corners. So the T-nuts lock in automatically. So just screw them down. Pushed it into the hole from the screw. Not a good idea. And last one. Number 4. All right, let's go see what the instructions now say to do. Now that we've got this up on feet. So let's just zoom back out a little bit. Got that done, nothing there. So we come down and, okay, need to assemble slider plates. So let's just move this, actually let's move it off of here for the moment until we need it. So what do we need here? I think some of these are already pre-assembled. We need 2 aluminum profiles. I've got one that is just all on its own with no threads in whatsoever, so I'm not sure what that's for yet. So we've got 2 aluminum profiles here. These will be for the rails to go on. It says 6 bearings, but we don't have specific bearings for anything. Oh, so much for that. Okay. I think these are just the linear bearings. Yep, we're not ready for that yet. I think by the look of it, we're doing these because the other pieces are a bit smaller, and these are already pre-assembled and look like they're fairly tight. Little wrench is provided here. Yep, they're already tightened up for us. Two bearings on there, 2 bearings on there. We've got 8 pulleys. Well, there's 4 on each and they're already assembled. So 8 plastic pillars, they're already on. Spacers are done. That's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. No. T-nuts, 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've got those. And we need 6 washers. There's 8 of them on these stacks of pulleys. So they're probably actually meant to say 8. 8 locking nuts, they're already on the back of there. 2 profiles, the M5 by 30 screws. They'll be the ones that are already in there on the bearings. So if I just zoom in and show you that. So you've got 3 shorter ones and we've got 1 long one because it's got the pulleys on the back of it. So that'll be the M5 by 50s is these. There's 2 of them, 1 for each pulley. M5 by 30s, there's 6 and there's 3 on each pulley, so we've got those already assembled. We need M5 by 25s, so that will be these for assembling the frame, I would imagine. And we scroll down. So what have we got here? So all of this part here is already done for us, which is nice. One less thing to do. So these need to slide the... So these screws are going to go from the top. So this will be the top because we've got the extra bit of drilling out on the profile right here so that the screw heads can go through. So that means that will be the top piece of the platform. These pulleys, you've still got the paper on. Yeah, leave that on. What the heck. So it shows these being laid out like that. And one, doesn't say which, but one of them is going to go this way onto a profile. And one of them is going to go this way on a profile. So there we go. So we've got 1 and 1. Just bring it, adjust the camera, I think. I'll zoom out a little bit more. There we go. So we've got these two mounted. This is the top. The pulleys are on opposite sides. The big washers don't turn at all, so I'm a little concerned about the belts as they run through, whether they'll be rubbing on this. They don't feel like they've got any sharp edges, but well, there are a few, but we'll see. That's that part done. Let's go down. We've already done that. That one's already done. So now we basically mount them onto the frame. So let's go grab the frame again, bring it back up. And these are going to go inside. So let me just move these out the way for a moment. Here's our frame. Got that the same way as this. So one on this side is going to go on the inside and be inside front. Let's get this higher up so we can see it. So this is the left one. We've got it up here mounted, and this one is going to mount on this end right here. And so the other way around though. So they end up facing the same way on the same side of the pulley structures. All right, so they're both on this side right now. And we're going to screw those down, I would imagine, with these big M5 screws, just like everywhere else. So let me just get that done and be right back to you. Now, normally I'd prefer to be grabbing my electric screwdriver here. I will fast forward this video for a lot of these parts, but that would be my preference, is to use that. But as this is the tool that's provided, and not everybody has an electric screwdriver, I will try and persevere with this. That one is starting to strip ahead, I think. The screwdriver's not ideal, but we'll persevere for now. Let's just turn this around so I can reach this one. So again, making sure you line up the extrusions with the faces, because it will help in the long run if you take the time to make sure that they're all put together nice and snug. So you should feel smooth on each of these edges as they transition from the top extrusion to the bottom. If it does, then you know that it's having a good chance of all being lined up. So there's our top pulleys for the gantry to go across.